So, um, yeah, it's one thing that I did while I was depressed, and this is like the main point of this video that I want you to think about, is to like be like a scientist and be objective about happiness for yourself. No one else, and this is what I did. I was super depressed, like literally, like there's an extreme level, and it's a combination of so many things. Like it's common to have your post college graduate depression. I learned about that. But this was like a very high, extreme level, of like not knowing what your purpose in life is and whatnot. And a bunch of other things happened that led me to have a very, very, very negative reaction to anytime I thought about myself, anytime I referred my awareness to myself and who I was and how I was living my life. Very negative response. And it sucked. So, I mean, you can use that pain as a good motivation to get out of it. So I I sat down at my desk, I opened up a notebook, and I was objective about it. I was like, okay, when's the last time I was really happy in my life? So I wrote what I was doing in my life. I was exercising a lot. I was, working hard and got into like my college I wanted to go do. I was doing this, and this, X, Y, Z, W, all these things that I was doing. I wrote it down when I was like really happy. Okay, so that gave me an understanding framework of, I guess you could say the recipes for happiness in my life. And then I compared it to what I was doing like right now in my life. And, from that, obviously, like doesn't take a genius to figure out. Probably should stop a lot of the things you're doing in your life at that moment that's like leading to your depression, and do more of the things that makes you happy, like things that you were doing when you were really happy. Like doesn't take much rocket science or whatever to be able to figure that out. So like I said, it's not always easy, but that's what you got to do. I think that's all the main points to it. Sorry if I'm not super exciting or high energy today. I kind of feel sick, but I've been wanting to do this video for a while, and hopefully for someone who's depressed, maybe they'd be able to connect with this energy a little bit more, since mine's a little lower. Last point I want to make about this is, as weird as this sounds, like be grateful that you are depressed right now and where you are. So the reason you should be grateful is because you're actually going to learn a lot about yourself. You're going to learn a lot about what makes you happy, how the mind works, assuming you actually attack this thing like a fucking pit bull. If you just continue to sleep in, take warm showers, not work out, drink beer, whatever, all these like little temporary fixes to your negative feelings, if you continue to do that, you're probably not going to learn that much about yourself. And when you get out of it, you'll just go back to living your life, probably more susceptible to being depressed again, and then you'll probably repeat that cycle. But I haven't had that for like over 4 years. And when I was in that moment, I literally understood a lot about myself. So anytime I feel myself slipping from being happy and passionate about my life, I look at what I'm doing, and I already know what my values are because I learned them while I was depressed, and I get back on my path of living my values. So like I described in the previous video on happiness and motivation, like walking the path of your values is the prescription to being happy. And to get to that point, you first have to understand what it is that makes you happy. And you can find that out sometimes a lot better when you're depressed, when you search for it and you find out how the mind works. So I'll give you kind of one more example of how the ego works and how the present moment is. So I have a little drawing of it and kind of what I was experiencing. So anyways, this is awareness right here. That's the A. And then you've got the world, so whether it be surfing, eating a cheeseburger, and just smiling faces around, or just the beauty of the world. That in itself, with a blank slate, without the ego, is very enjoyable. You know, the water is beautiful if you like to surf or whatever you like to hike, or you do jiu-jitsu, whatever art or whatever there is in this world that you enjoy doing, like in eating. Like that's the most basic thing that's enjoyable. Like if you can just like focus on the, I guess you could say, the richness and the beauty that exists in this world without an ego in itself, you're going to get relief and benefits from it. There's a lot of research on that as well. That's like actually a certain type of happiness therapy. If I remember what it was called, I would mention it to you, but just know that appreciating and focusing on the world without an ego, you know, is actually a helpful and enjoyable part of the world. Nonetheless, an ego is part of being a human. So if you can, you want to have a healthy and strong ego. And when it's healthy and strong, like right here, like I call it the strong ego, it actually doesn't care for validation from other people. So I'm going to turn this light off, a little better lighting. So yeah, it doesn't care about validation from others. But when your ego is weak, and it's weak when you're not living your values, you're going to look for the world for validation. And when you do that, you know, happiness does not really come very well. So, yeah, if you can like learn to focus your mind well, you will enjoy the world more. And if you can know how to redirect your awareness in a way that has you value yourself, that's like another quick fix. But in general, you want to develop like a healthy ego that is satisfied with its own life. So one thing I would do is, you know, I stopped drinking alcohol. I was like totally sober for like 2 weeks, no caffeine or anything or tobacco, whatever else you do. I got completely sober, and I would go out, you know, to bars, and, you know, of course, like being in those types of settings, it can be kind of intense, and there's a lot of ego in the bar setting. And what I would do is I would take two reference systems in my mind. So, you know, two positive ego reference systems. So anytime my awareness was going inward, I would have one thing to think about. So if it was like one, like let's say I had been like running and swimming a lot, and I knew that my cardio vascular endurance was really strong, I would just think about how my cardio is in relation to others. So that would make me feel good. So anytime my awareness was going inwards, instead of focusing on other bad shit in my life, you know, which I was working to improve at the time, I would focus on that. And then, you know, you can make one other internal reference system if you want. So it could be like, you know, maybe something nice you do for people, or like you could just say taking care of my dogs, you know, and that can make you feel good about yourself. So you can have two or one reference systems, and then also on the external world, I would have like one or two reference systems. So a lot of times I would just focus on all the like sparkles that exist in the environment. So as weird as that sounds, just, you know, you could do this on your own right now. Just listen to my voice. Don't look at the cell phone or computer, and just be aware of all the bright sparkles in the environment. So, you know, if you look around, you probably should see some. It's, you know, a reflection of light. You know, I'm seeing it off my faucet in my room. I'm seeing it off of my foaming soap container for cleaning my dishes, off my refrigerator, off the microwave, off the coconut oil, honey, everything, you know, water bottles, stuff like that. You know, I actually see it in people's eyes when you go out, which is pretty cool. And if you make that a continual focus, kind of like you would a meditation, you can like feel pleased and just like at peace with just the beauty around you. And that was something I would do. So yeah, just, I mean, if you want to just try something and learn more about the way the mind works and how enjoyment works, yeah, you can do that. So getting to the end of the video, it was actually a little longer than I thought it would be. So yeah, that's why you should be grateful for it, because you're going to learn a lot about yourself and how depression works, how the mind works, good stuff like that, which is really important to enjoy in life. So, hope this makes sense to you. If you got any questions, send me a message, whatever. Hopefully I can help you get out of that, or hopefully something I said can help you. So yeah, main thing, freaking just find out what it is, be like a scientist, be objective, and get out of whatever habit you had built yourself into, and like start something that makes you happy and find out what that is, and just attack it like a pit bull. And it's not always going to feel good, but trust me, like with each day that you feel better and happier, like the spiral you get out of depression is like one of the best like experiences in the world, because you have all of that, like pain and pleasure is like relative. So from so much pain and like getting all that pleasure and then learning a lot also, like you're going to come out and you're going to feel great, and it's going to be like one of the best times of your life. So hope this makes sense. Like do this, be grateful, and like make the best of the situation you're in right now. Boom, that's it.